Happy Black History Month, all of y'all. And of course, I already told you a little while ago in a post, I'm going to have something special posting about halfway through the month, maybe later in the month of February, in celebration of Black History Month and to help tell a narrative about, some things that I've been working on in general, as well as the Black experience and all that stuff. That's all coming. So every single video, I'm going to say Happy Black History Month for the month of February because this is my month. I deserve this. We all deserve this, my Black kings and queens out there. But anyways, let's kind of just jump into the topic for today. So I actually fast-tracked this video before another video because I think this is more important. So I have been reading the Batman, Future State with Tim Fox, and in this video, I'm going to go over a lot of the reasons why I feel like, just from the second issue, why Tim Fox is likely going to be a better Batman. Now, it's not just related to the physicality, him being able to fight, his, ability to be able to take down crime fighters, but it's more or less just his point of view when it comes to handling criminals. And even though it may seem like in the second issue they didn't really talk or do too much regarding criminals, there is one moment that I kind of want to talk about specifically, and I kind of want to dive into it. But before, I do all that, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe. Leave your comments down below, let me know what you're thinking, let me know what you're feeling. And without further or possible ado, let's kind of just dive into today's video. So far, not much has been going on with Batman Future State with Tim Fox. It's just telling his story, what's going on with Gotham, this super military group, which is actually just simply designed to go after vigilantes and people who wear masks. So nothing crazy there. The detectives aren't really respected by this private military force. And apparently it seems like Lucius Fox made like Fox Technologies or something like that. So kind of taking over, I guess, the whole Bruce Wayne enterprise or Wayne enterprise, kind of morphed it into his own thing. And I think just in general, Lucius Fox has just been, he's downward spiraling because of the relationship between him and Bruce have been strained as of the last time before, we got to DC Future State. Now, this is what I want to kind of talk about. Now, I'm not going to talk about most of the stuff that happens in the issue because, like I said, nothing really happens. But when you read issue number 2, and I believe it's page 23, you kind of get a point of view of how Tim Fox is as Batman. So basically, in the beginning of the comic, you see that he's chasing or looking for these people who brutally beat this man in an alley. Now, at that point, we didn't know who exactly this person was. We just knew that these two masked people who were wearing these masks that were able to completely take off their facial features off of any kind of recognition software, so they were very difficult to find. But nonetheless, Tim Fox was able to, gather up some information, find who they are, and basically track them down later on in this issue. Now, what's interesting is the dude who was actually found in the alley was, they say, Jershevsky. And basically, this dude actually, supposedly, allegedly, killed this couple's daughter. And the way he did it was, it seemed like he was a pedophile, where he didn't really groom her online, didn't say anything inappropriate online, but did something to make her feel comfortable, reached out to her, befriended her, and then met up, and then their daughter just went missing and never was found. And supposedly, because there was nothing online or anything to trace back to him, they took it to the court, took it to the police, and then nothing was done, and he was still pretty much roaming the streets free. So any logical parent who feel like this guy is responsible, he needs to pay, they went after him, they beat him to death, and then they completely just left his body there just to bleed out and die. So pretty much he's dead. He bled out and died. But that's what any parent would do, at least most parents, I think, when it comes to their kids. There's literally nothing on earth that'll stop parents from finding whoever hurt their baby. So I can completely understand that. Now, believe it or not, Bruce Wayne, even though Batman to some level would definitely understand, Bruce Wayne himself would understand, like, okay, I get it, circumstances, but justice. So you need to go to jail and pay for your crimes and go through the court system and maybe we can negotiate something. Then maybe as Bruce Wayne, he might finesse a little something through the court system so they can get leniency and not completely, have to deal with the full totality of what they did, since they themselves are victims. Now, even though on paper that may seem dope and that may seem, I guess, kind-hearted, which it kind of is, he's trying to look out and he understands that they're victims. In this particular page, Tim Fox actually doesn't do anything. He actually is having a conversation with them. And not once did he really mention, hey, I'm going to arrest you, I want to do this. Like, he's actually taking the time to understand the victims of these circumstances. Because one thing I've mentioned before about Batman, and one thing about supervillains in the DC, Marvel universe, whatever the case may be, some villains are not villains because they want to be, but they're villains because they're victims of circumstances. So they don't really have the resources, or maybe something specific happened, and unfortunately some actions lead to other actions, which lead to other actions, what gets you deemed as a supervillain or just a villain in some cases. And these are one of those cases where these two parents literally killed the guy who allegedly is responsible for killing their daughter. And instead of Batman coming down and, he already beat them up because this is before, he knew and, figured out what was going on. But he's having the conversation with him, trying to figure out what's going on. Like, even, like I said, on this page, specifically on page 23, they wanted justice. And, even though he did say, even if he did kill your daughter, what you did to him was still murder. And the monster took my little girl. We have nothing. What else can we do? What else can you do to us? And believe it or not, even though nothing was said after that because they were interrupted by this military police who's been chasing after this Batman, you can tell just from the way that he was drawn, the way he's even talking to them, he understands. And believe it or not, I'm almost certain that he wouldn't have really took the time to prosecute them. Because even before, the page before that, once he beat them up, once he realized what was going on, he just completely stopped. He didn't handcuff them. He didn't, threaten them. He didn't, make them feel guilty for what they did. He understood that they were victims. And he knew that any parent would do the same thing. And he believed, in his heart of hearts, he believed the guilty deserved to be punished. He does believe that. But it's almost as if, because he's wearing the mantle of Batman, it's almost as if he has to kind of obey certain criteria that came with the mantle, which in itself is not true. Any version of Batman, whether it be Tim Fox, Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson, Damian, their take on the law is up to them. The way that they want to go about things is definitely up to them when it comes to their interpretation of how they want to pursue the law. So it's very interesting to see that we have a Batman where he not only understands, because it's Black History Month, he's a black Batman. So as we already know, there has been issues where I'm pretty sure in the comic book community, a lot of people say, oh, Batman shouldn't be black, even though Batman is a mantle. But like I said, that's a whole nother topic in itself. So he understands, one, because he is a minority. This was mentioned a couple times with the Fox family. Being a minority in general has been something of an experience, as plenty of black people know. And then two, he knows that these people are victims because in some way, shape, or form, he himself in some ways have been a victim. So he can understand the rationale behind these parents seeking to get even, to get justice, and really taking the time to understand that these parents have nothing else. As a parent, nothing is more important than your children. You can go to work, you can have a great job. Any parent who cares about their child, there's nothing else more important than them. And imagine you bring someone into the world with the hope of them growing up to raise their own family so you can grow old, have grandkids, and then transition over to the great beyond. But then someone comes along and takes them away from you prematurely. And now you have nothing else. What are you going to do at this point? You literally have nothing else. That was it. Your whole world falls apart. And don't get me wrong, people can definitely, grieve and get themselves together, especially if, like I said, in another case, let's say if the girl died of a sickness, ailment, you can recover from that because that's nobody's fault. It's just, unfortunately, it was natural causes. But this wasn't a natural cause. This is a man who sought to go after their daughter, preyed on their daughter, made her feel comfortable, groomed her, and then he met with her. And then he's done this before, apparently. So met with their daughter, got into her head, and the next thing you know, she goes missing. And he understood that. And he believed that villains should be punished. People who hurt other people should be punished. Which is where this dilemma kind of falls in. Just because he wears a mantle of Batman, should he let them just walk away because they already have suffered enough, which I completely agree with? Or do you believe that despite the fact that they are victims, that they're already hurting in ways that I myself could never, imagine, or at least not right now, could imagine? Do you think he still should make sure that they go through the system of Gotham City and go through the courts to try and, I guess, serve time or, get some sort of reprimand for their crimes? You let me know. But this is more just a subject matter I wanted to kind of get into about the new Batman. It's very interesting. There's very interesting subject matters that I think that's going to be presented when it comes to Tim Fox. But let me know in the comments down below what you're thinking, and if you're new to Alternative Factuals, if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe. Leave your comments down below, and I hope to see you later on. Happy Black History Month.
Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on